Okay.
So are we gonna do intros first? Because I would like to.
Yeah, I am.
Names.
I will, in fact. First of all, we're pleased that we have a new counselor, our representative from, for this committee. We've had good ones, we've had one that not so good, and so we're looking forward to you working with us. It's really an important role. It's a major conduit of information both ways. We hope to help you and make, and promote ideas we have, but also you're keeping us informed of what's going on. So all I know, it's Councilor Stearns, but I don't know your first name.
Dan.
Okay, Dan?
STEARN.
Yes. Are officially it's Daniel if you want to be like
So
official.
if you want to introduce yourself beyond that.
Well, I'm Dan Stearns, local Canby business owner. I live in Canby. I have a tax and accounting shop here. I guess as far as relevant to this, until for about 10 years, I lived close to downtown. I pretty much walked everywhere in Canby, so that qualifies me to be a pedestrian for the Bicycle and Pedestrian Citizens Advisory Committee. I just recently moved about a mile away from that, and so far I've been driving a lot. I do walk sometimes to work, depends on what the weather is. So I still do a lot of pedestrian. I haven't got to the bicycle part of it yet. Mainly because some past experience of in different city of having my bike stolen every time I tried to use it for transportation. And so I'm still not quite sure whether I'm gonna take my bike out and bike to work or not, but I'm thinking about it. And I was appointed to the council, so I didn't run for election. So if you don't like how I do, you can always vote me out next time, or I might not even run, I don't know. Got 4 kids. I went to Canby schools, and 3 of them are college. One of them's Baker Prairie Middle School, and I've gotten my Baker Prairie Middle School to try to walk to school as much as you can, so you can go to the through the logging trail that pass. So anyway, so I'm excited to be on here because, like I say, I've had a lot of experience being a pedestrian in Canby.
So let's go around the table and introduce ourselves, and so Dan gets to know who we are. And so Cliff, you want to start?
I'm Cliff Ash.
And Cliff, what did you join I'm going to ask that. The general question is, what did you join Bike and Ped? Because we're kind of a backwater. We're not, it's like people who get in the planning commission, maybe they have an economic stake in the game. Why are people in Bike and Ped?
So I was asked to join because I bike a lot and I walk a lot, and I'm concerned with bike paths and sidewalks. And
Do you have sidewalks here?
there are sidewalks.
No. Yeah, there are sidewalks, but they just don't always connect to the other sidewalks.
That's an issue.
Brittany?
I'm Britt Ash, no relation to Cliff as far as I know. But I saw an ad in the newspaper for the position with this committee probably about 5 years ago. So I just volunteered, and I was doing a lot of bike riding at the time, and I'm a nurse, so I'm really interested in public health and getting people out and about and moving in the most safe, healthy ways possible.
Jerry Nelzine, Nelzen, and I'm Canby Public Works Director. I'm coming up on 20 years of working here. Worked with the Bike and Ped Committee off and on all these years. More of formal like meeting with mainly Mike and Bruce, I guess, on issues in the past. So I don't know when the last time I've been to one of these meetings, and I was excited I got invited. So thank you.
I don't know how long. I've been on this committee for a long time. It could be 10 years even.
Wow.
Time flies, but it was before Bruce got here. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, I ride bikes still. I used to ride a lot a few years ago, but yeah, lived in Canby for 14 years, and the bike path is right behind my backyard on the north northeast side of the bike path. So, for whatever that's worth.
What is the bike path?
You know, the logging road trail?
Logging Road Trail, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it is a bike path.
Well,
I always call it the
it's-
logging trail.
Yeah, it's. I
Has
should-
many names.
Mhm, Yeah,
Oh, here, I guess in this committee, it's called the bike path.
well, not necessarily.
Hi, I'm Emma Porcolo. I'm an associate planner in the planning department here at the city. I'm the staff liaison for the committee. I was given this committee without choice, but I'm very happy that I was. And personally, you know, used to be a bike commuter in my last job and enjoy bike and ped infrastructure in my personal life.
And I'm Bruce Parker. I've been on the committee a long time, maybe 8 years, I don't know. I think I did it before I retired. The reason I'm on the committee was before I retired, I was kind of looking for something to do, and I had a friend who was, I think he retired when he was 70. And 8 days after he retired, he's out riding his bike, which he rode to work every day, a 14-mile commute. And he's over in southwest Portland, and a UPS truck comes up beside him, a semi, and the semi makes a right turn and the trailer goes over him. So that was kind of like, I wanted to do something for safety. And then I had another friend who owned a bike shop in Portland, and she was hit on her bike, and she had some real mental issues later and later committed suicide. So that was two reasons. But bringing it home local, my sister-in-law, her grandmother was hit here on 99E and killed. Now, this goes back probably 20 years. But just recently, we had a pedestrian fatality on 99E, Ken Kearns. That's the one, the person I
Oh,
was
that is
talking
the
about.
name.
And, you know, if you drove around Canby, you often saw him walking around with his yellow vest and a cane. And he was a pretty rough looking guy, but he was hit. So, you know, I guess
How long will this
safety.
happen?
When did this happen?
Yeah.
I think, what, 3 months ago? Do we have the date?
I forgot, but it's within the last several months, I
Yeah.
would say.
We
Couple
don't, I
months
don't
ago.
really know, because we've been asked for a police report on it. And they're saying the investigation's continuing, and until that's settled, it'd probably be a year before we get any information. And so it's, you know, and I was at the gas station talking to the attendant about it, because I was kind of pumping for information about Mr. Kearns. And he said, oh, there's several people hit here on Ivy all the time. It seems like that's an issue. So, you know, maybe they just bumped and it never gets reported, but maybe there's more to it than what we realize. So anyway, that's why I'm here, is safety, and I am an avid cyclist, and I do like walking too, and hiking. Okay. So let's kind of move on. First, I'd like to say, ask, are there any other agenda items that are not on? Because I have one. Okay.
I have something I might want to add at the end, but I don't know if there's a place for a time in the agenda where we could just say our minds, or do we?
Just tell me what the issue is so we don't forget it.
Oh, well, actually, somebody in my office, and I'm not even sure who it was, because I saw it when I was leaving, I was the last person leaving the office, they posted a note that, with a suggestion for and what they wanted was a bike lane from Holly to the Malala State Park. That was their suggestion. And I don't even know, I'll find out tomorrow, ask who made it, but they wrote it down for me, because I put on, because I obviously on my calendar at work, I have to schedule everything. They said that, oh, he must have said, so they had a suggestion, so that was a suggestion, so maybe I
Okay, let's
just
do
put
that
on.
under new business.
Okay.
Okay. And my issue is, well, actually, it made the minutes that we would be picking up having Jerry here, but I don't see him on the agenda. So Jerry, we're gonna put you under new business so you can get
Sure.
in and get out if you need to.
Whatever works for you
Okay.
guys, yeah.
So, anything else? Okay.
Do we need to review the meeting minutes?
I'm going to go there next.
Oh, all right.
So let's talk about the minutes. Any discussion or comments? Then maybe a motion to approve?
I move the minutes be approved as written.
Second?
Second.
Motions have been approved then. No public, anybody from the public? No, so we pass on public attendance. So Jerry, I know I've been after getting a hold of you, and I know Mindy has. Our concern was really about the CIP, capital improvement plan.
Yep.
And, we're concerned about the logging road long-term and the condition of it and slowly deteriorating. We think, I don't know how old it is, but I think the city acquired it about 35 years ago. But I don't know when it was paved, but I know it hasn't been paved in a long time.
Paved in 2000, I think, 2000, somewhere around 2008, somewhere in that era. It was gravel, and we just took and did one panel with the paver. We found some money and paved that a long time ago. Yeah, and Bruce,
So you did take the floor here.
What's that?
Take the floor on this.
Yeah, so if you're talking about from 13th to the old log dump
Right.
behind 34th, down at the end, that section, we're not talking about the one down behind the gun club, right? Just the current,
Right,
in the city
right,
limits.
right.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
talking the city limits.
Yep, so,
That's a whole other issue we need to bring him up to speed on about what we call the traverso section.
Verso property, yeah.
So Dan doesn't even know what we're talking about. It's huge,
Yeah.
and you need to be brought up to speed on it. Maybe that should be a
Is that
third.
the section past the gun club?
Yeah, and
Yeah, I mean, I'm aware that they were able to purchase that and that extend it beyond.
It was a donation.
donation
With
out of
the
this,
intended purpose of a bike path.
To Malala.
To the end of his property.
but I mean, eventually, it was a plan to make it, I thought, connect Malala with us, but
It
no,
depends on when we're talking about it.
yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Long time, long
Yeah.
down the road.
The
over-
very,
yeah.
very origins of
Yeah.
it was the way back,
Well,
yes.
Well, that section, we can, if you have any questions on that, I can answer it, because I've been involved in the.
Let's
building,
stick to the capital improvement.
So,
stuff.
first of all, the capital improvement plan was adopted by council. You guys can go on the City of Canby website and look at what the 5-year capital improvement plan for all the departments are. And it shows parks, streets, all that. If you guys, I forget what page it is, but it's on the city website, under budget. Right now, currently, the Parks Advisory Committee is looking at updating the capital improvement plan for parks. And so my team does the streets, the collections and all that. No one really seems to care about them as much as the parks right now. So anyways, that, if you have any input, we're talking about that. You can talk to Barry Johnson. If you got, they kind of went over in the last meeting, there are 3 things that they want to look at for parks for CIP. Right now, currently, I'll get to the logging road, but
You're fine.
currently, right now, we have Auburn Farms Park Development that got first reading approved for design and engineering. They're gonna develop that park down there at Locust. The other thing for this year is Maple Street turfing project. That is budgeted and it's out for design, and it should be coming to council soon. So it's lighting and turfing Maple Street Park. So those are the 2. Oh, and then you will like this, the fitness court out at Legacy Park, American Fitness Act. The mayor got contacted by a company. Ryan Potter wrote a grant, and we purchased, it's an outdoor fitness court.
I've never heard that term, fitness court.
Am I saying it
That's-
wrong? Fitness?
No, it makes
It's
sense,
a-
I guess.
It's a
yeah.
38 by 72 deal with padding, with exercise
Cool.
equipment on
Yeah.
it. And it's gonna be behind the gazebo at Legacy Park. We actually currently have all the equipment. And
Oh.
I'm waiting for good weather to pour the slab to install it all. So
Right.
that's,
I knew
that's the projects we're doing this year. We'll
That's
make a new
awesome.
one. Yeah, it's gonna be cool.
So it's like
And
a
Parks and
jungle
Rec
gym
is
that-
talking about installing fitness stations on the logging trail as well, right?
That's where, that isn't in the CIP, so anything that we wanna do, we need to talk to Parks Advisory, or we need to have Counselor Stearns like have input on stuff that you guys wanna see in the CIP for bike and ped, cause it would fall, I think, under Parks.
Yeah, well, we're both advocating for it.
Yeah.
And so this is, you know, as we're kind of delving into this, we're trying to bring him up to
Yep.
speed.
Yep.
You know, and that's, so,
Yep,
Go on.
and so anyways, those are the projects that we're getting accomplished this year, which is great. Good stuff, kind of meets everyone's kind of stuff that they want. We got the sports stuff, we got fitness, we got like, I wanted to talk about the CIP, and then, so the CIP is, we use that, we got the Parks Master Plan, Ryan Potter kind of head that up with planning on getting a Parks Master Plan updated. And we build the CIP off of that, kind of the priorities that are laid out. It's kind of a roadmap for what we decide for future projects. Bruce, to go now into, we can talk about future CIP, or we can talk about the path. Because the path, in my opinion, doesn't fall under a capital project.
why don't
It fall-
we stay with
The
the
capital.
logging road and then we go
Yeah,
to Chip?
So
you
the
know.
logging road condition, I have assessed it, and there's a concern there. The tree roots are, from the poplar and cottonwood trees are growing along the surface and making trip hazards on that. So right now, I'm currently working with my engineer to lay all that out, and this summer, I'm gonna go in and cut out the sections that have trip hazards and repave them. So I don't know if that appeases you. I don't have money to redo the whole thing, but I want to get rid of this summer after July 1. I'm going to put it in budget and hopefully it gets approved, and we're going to repair all them bad sections of that road. Because I think that's what your concern is, isn't it? All them trip hazards and,
Not for the Chip,
huh?
not for Chip. I mean, you know, yes, that,
Okay.
what you're talking about
Yeah.
needs to be done.
Yeah,
What we've talked about is, we're seeing the quality of the service slowly
Oh.
deteriorating. And we know that what I want to do is start getting it to your attention, to get it in the, you know, capital improvement plan is not this year, but years to come.
Gotcha.
Get a placeholder in there and, you know, I don't know if you can help us there, make that plan.
that
Is
would
it-
be a capital project, correct?
Yeah.
then? Yep, okay, that's good to know.
That's what I was trying to reach out for you,
Yeah, so, okay, I will note that.
okay?
And so you want it completely replaced in the future?
Well, I think, you know, this is something we need to, you need to, I know that if when you evaluate a street to be
Yeah.
paved, you have an instrument, you run over it.
I do.
And that tells you, oh, hey, this is more important than that. I could see a couple different approaches. We do it in sections, you know, maybe it's best to do it all at once. This is something, but I'm seeing it getting rougher and rougher.
Yeah, I guess I kind of have a recommendation of that. Like, if you look at our street maintenance program, every 5 years, I have a company, I put an RFP out, request for proposal, if anyone's know, just for companies to come in and low bidder gets to assess all our roads, and they run a car over it, and it gives it a pavement condition index rating. It's a PCI, and it scores all the roads 0 to 100. 100 being perfect, 0 being bad. Right now, Cambies are all at like a 70. And so what I'm trying to do when we go back to council is to find a standard of what we want our roads to be at what level, and vote on that, and then we adjust the street maintenance fee according to pay for that. I could include that road in that so that we could track that on a pavement condition index if you'd like, if that's a solution. And then we could score it, see what it's at now.
Yeah.
And then we could, every 5 years, we could keep an eye on that. And then, and what we could do is make a recommendation to council, or have council make a recommendation. We don't want to let it go below this number, because you let it get below that number, it gets expensive to repair.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's an
yeah.
option.
Yeah,
I
and
know
I'll-
that's a lot. I mean, you don't have to write on that.
We're going,
I wrote a little bit of it down,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
yeah.
But,
This
yeah.
is being recorded, so you can
Yeah,
actually go back.
but no, I wouldn't worry about that. But I'm just saying, I got ways of doing that. But Bruce, I'll start treating it more like one of our roads.
for the quality of the surface. That makes
Yeah.
sense to
No,
me.
and maybe we need to look at a slurry seal or some side of protection
Right.
or something. I can have my engineer look into that too.
We've been having a dialogue and I'm not getting everybody else included and I want to reach out and
I'll
see what
go-
other people are thinking here.
That sounds good.
I'll go look at it again too.
Like
Is that-
what he says,
okay.
yeah.
I think that's.
Okay.
Start treating it like a road, start treating.
I will
people
say
in.
our biggest concern is between territorial and the overpass. It's where it's the worst, I think.
It's just kind of unraveling and starting to get rough.
Yeah,
Okay.
Well, it is a road. It's
Yeah.
called the
Yeah.
logging road.
It's a road, yeah. It's got a good road base. It's not like it's base failure. It's just getting a lot of wear and tear.
yeah,
It
exactly.
just gets used a lot.
Yeah, and it's kind of like, we can't say, hey, we got to repave it this year. That's not, kosher. You got to think out
Yeah.
and get that money.
Yeah, and I gotta see, that's where I wish, I'm being recorded, but I wish we could make that a street and make the streets department own it and not a park. We have funds there, you know what I
But
mean? Like
is it-
the road, but right now it's considered a park.
Counselor, could that could be done? Could the,
It'd be a good question for the
For the
city
coun-
administrator or
yeah.
something that if they, because I know Eileen's been trying to figure out how to paint the bridge and, we've talked about doing lighting. I know right now, I don't know, what Parks Advisory, I know would say is sure, let's pave it, but let's not use our SDC funds and all that. Let's use maintenance funds for that. Let's use parks maintenance fee funds.
Well-
That's what they would say, sure.
many cities have streets that are closed to everybody,
Yeah.
to cars and just to pedestrians. It could be considered a street.
Yeah, and that's, I don't know, that's a question for council if they,
Well, I'm writing these things down so that I can,
Yeah.
get the answer, of course, the
Because
question.
this is
I don't
really
know,
a
but I can read-
budgeting issue, how to fund it.
I would recommend though, right now is like, right now, we're struggling with the general fund. And we got shortfalls in the general fund, which the parks falls under that. And so paving that, we'd have to, right now, it would have to become a priority for the Parks Advisory to recommend to council, unless your liaison goes batting for you guys, say, let's take some of this parks maintenance money and repave that thing. It would be a struggle to do it. We need to
Yeah.
get ahead of it.
But
But
that's something that I think is logic. I never got the logic of having it be a park, since I've been in Canby. I mean, I figured it's a park because because streets didn't want it, but that's
Yeah.
because it's got an overpass, it's got, engineering issues. I mean, and not only that, but it serves as an emergency, access way for emergency vehicles. And so as such, it's got to be able to support those emergency vehicles, so it's got to be able to have some sort of standards.
yeah, and that would be a solution to having funding for
Should-
that.
I'm going to ask the committee is, I float in and out of Parks and Rec every now and then. Should I bring that idea to them?
I think they would like it. I think they would like it. Like, that's not a real big priority for them, this current group.
Right.
They're more on
No, they're on the ball fields right now.
ball fields, building Auburn Parks, and, gazebos. I mean, we got the fitness deal and stuff like that, but yeah,
And they don't really want to see, the funds being competed for, especially. Is that, I'm looking around and saying, is that something people are kind of in agreement with me, kind of
Yeah.
going out?
in that section too, another case that could be made is, all the work we've done down there, like cleaning up around that bridge, we used it, the streets department, maybe the streets department needs to make the repairs to it.
Are we
if
talking
did
the
it.
overpass?
Like,
Over
like
99?
the section from territorial to the overpass.
Yeah.
It's getting rough. I mean, we're driving on that a lot with streets equipment and stuff too, so maybe we could justify looking into that and see if we did the damage to it, and pay for it.
Somebody did on the ramp up.
Yeah, and I don't know I gotta go look at that, what's going on there. Because they got them substation in there, Canby Utilities going in there, we're going
Right.
in there. So, it's right now, it is, I appreciate you bringing it up because it is a nice path and we don't want to lose it.
We don't want it to get to the point it gets really expensive.
Yep. I agree.
It's just kind of, hey, we can see it coming, we better plan.
Yeah, yep. And keep this in the back of my mind too and give it some thought and go look at it. And I'll talk to the parks team and stuff, see what what's going on with it, why it is getting damaged, and if it's just wear and tear, or if it's actually like construction equipment doing it, or what.
I'll bring it up at the next city council meeting. I think that's a fair thing to present anyway, is making the logging trail a street. And
Take it out of the parks.
I don't see why, I don't even know why it's a park. It's just a path. It's not, I mean, that's for me, my logical mind thinking. I mean, obviously there's trees around it, but I think most of the trees are probably owned by the property owners around it, not by the city itself.
Most of them are, yep. So it'd be curious to see what the conversation is at the council meeting.
This is just a way of budget, it's still, you put things in the wrong side, you create silos, you can create a problem for yourself. And this is what we're trying to do, is break these silos down right now.
Yep.
So basically, I'm gonna repeat what I think I've heard. We're trying to get the logging road committed as a street for the purposes that it will be maintained with street user fees. Is that the right term?
I guess the question you would want to ask is it even possible? Is it legal? It'd be an attorney question with David.
We got a city attorney.
Yep, and it could it
We
be,
pay him for.
yep, exactly. Could it be transferred to streets department?
I mean, I'm sure it can, it's just the question is how.
Yeah,
What kind of somersaults and loops and
yeah, and
contortions you have to do to get it.
exactly.
Jerry, who do we charge street maintenance fees to?
Who pays for it?
Yeah.
Like charge is like
Landowners.
It's $5 a household,
okay.
and that's where
It's like a tax, basically.
it's a tax,
Okay.
and
It's a
business owners
tax.
pay more. Yeah, Tracy always says that, it's a fee. They say it's a fee, but it's a tax. Tracy will say that in every council meeting, it's tax, but, and it's between
Same
the,
thing.
it stipulates between the curbs. It's just blacktop, and so it would be eligible to pave that road with street maintenance fee if it was a street. Because we're not doing concrete, we're not doing any of that stuff, so, but right now it's a park, so it's gotta use the, general fund money,
Sounds good. Sounds like we got an idea.
yeah.
It's a good idea.
Anything more on the chip and the maintenance of the logging road? Since Jerry, you're here.
Yeah.
And Dan is new to us, maybe we should talk a little bit about the Traverso property a little
Sure.
bit, if that's okay. I know it's kind of not on the agenda, but the logging road is one of our major topics all the time here. Is that acceptable to everybody?
Yeah.
Just kind of a quick history. And Jerry, I'll jump in
Go
here.
ahead, you go ahead and
And then
take it,
you
yeah.
help fill it in, but about 35 years ago, the city of Canby acquired the logging road for $1 from Crown Zellerback, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay, and I didn't know when it was paid, but 2008 sounds about right.
Yeah,
And I know there's a couple gals that really pushed for it, but I don't know the names. There was a vision at one time to extend the logging road from the logging dump down on the river all the way out to Malala and beyond. In fact, you could take it all the way out to the top of the Malala River corridor. And that was a vision, and since, the logging road has fallen mostly into private hands, Crown Zellerback wanted to get rid of it. And so most of it is owned by private individuals. And I don't know exactly how Mr. Traverso got the piece, but he did. And before his death, he donated it to the city for the purpose of being a pedestrian path, bike path. And it goes out across the river. Do anybody know the cross street?
Elijah.
Out to about the end of Elijah Road, that's right. Where
Donated after his death by his widow.
Thank you for the correction. And so today, if that was, we could snap our fingers and just turn it into a bike path, that would be a great way to get from Canby to the other side, because if you're on a bike and you're trying to get to Moala, you have to run the gauntlet just on the other side of Knight's Bridge. You know, it dives down and then it comes up at a turn, a rise, you know what I'm talking about, before you get.
Not Knight's Bridge, it's the other.
Oh,
It's a Goods Bridge.
Goods Bridge.
Goods Bridge,
Thank
going
you.
up
You
the,
you go
yep.
across Goods Bridge and you come up that rise.
Mhm.
And there's, the shoulder that disappears on that rise, and it's high-speed traffic. And pretty spooky spot if you're on a bike,
I imagine, I
okay?
imagine.
But once you get beyond that, you get on the other back roads, it's beautiful cycling all the way
Mhm.
to this. So you could see it being a destination for people to come and cycle, you know? So that's the vision.
Or would moving it to a street instead of a park? Hey, right now, I assume it's parks have jurisdiction over it? The
It's
city
the
owns it.
cities. I don't know if
Well, I
it's,
mean, park is a city and so. the
yeah,
state's
yeah,
behind.
I guess that's, yeah, you're right.
The answer is, you know, that's a good question.
That is a good question. Well, it's city property, so,
It's city property, yeah.
yeah.
About, but 6 years ago, we put in for a grant and we got a master plan done for that section. And,
I
you
think
know,
I've seen, yeah, I mean, what's on the board is something I've seen
yes,
before, right?
so that was
I mean,
done,
I've been,
but there was a lot of pushback from the people who have right of way. They don't own it, but they have right of way for access. It's their ingress.
for the Canby Rod and Gun Club.
Yes, and they're one of them. And there's.
But the property owners along that section,
Section.
there's property,
Yeah.
farms
So
and
they
stuff along that
push
section.
back pretty vigorously. And at this point, it just kind of stalled. I kind of,
What's their pushback? They just don't want the extra vandalism or
They're
traffic
used to
or?
their privacy, I think,
Yeah.
more than anything, it has to do.
I look at it as they want a private road and yet they don't own it. And I see where the city of Canby is,
Pay to maintain it?
Yeah.
They do pay already to maintain.
Yeah,
it.
they're in that's with the city, they have, but for their access easement, they're required to maintain the road.
So they're already, paying for.
It's not open to the public, but it's public land at this point. Because it's not built up to any city standards, it's not anything, so people see it and go, oh, it's public land, I can go on it, and that's not true. They can go on it if they have permission to go on the city property or on the people that live along them roads, so
People ignore it or that rules, or they, has
they.
it been a problem that people having to call the police for trespassing?
Yeah, it's posted, no trespassing, and people go down, if you go down and park in one of them, got permission to go to their house, you're legal. But if you go and park on the road down there and then walk down to the creek, you're trespassing.
You might just bike down the road to the,
Same thing.
You would be trespassing,
or
yeah,
walk or anything, it's still
Same thing.
trespassing.
yeah.
I'm just curious, I might try sometime.
They'll come out and talk to you, some people don't care, some of them are really aggressive, you'll learn all about it, you'll get tied up for 2 hours if you go down, especially if they find out you're a city councilor,
Oh, yeah.
but,
I
yeah.
just, I'm just,
The
things like that make me wanna just try it and see what happens.
The drivable section is only part of the traversal,
Yeah.
because there's property past that that's.
Okay, so, but up to the gun club is kind of pretty well maintained, and you can kind of drive, if you're going to the gun club on the.
the one side is good, the right side is falling apart. And I actually got funds available to pave that. And then all the neighbors are like, well, they're gonna start drag racing down here. And I was like, you know what, if you guys can't decide, I don't wanna go spend a bunch of taxpayers' money and have you upset at me. So we're not doing anything.
no.
That's kind of where no one can decide what they wanna do with it. It's controversial right now.
But all the people who are against it, none of them vote in the city elections, do they?
They're out of the city limits. Yeah.
I'm just thinking out
You see
loud.
that, you see the irony too, okay.
And haven't the surveys that we've done shown that a majority of people are for it? In other words,
Oh,
the
yeah.
people who live along it are potentially the most
Well,
affected,
but
but
the
they're the
idea
minority.
is that obviously, my opinion, my personal opinion is, obviously, it could be done well or it could be done poorly and have good results or bad results, and there are ways to do it and I think have a very successful one. There's ways to do it that make everybody wish they hadn't done it. But I think that that's the issue that we talk about, not whether we should do it or not, because if we own it, it's ours, right? If it's, I mean, speaking of the city,
Yeah.
and we should use it, and if we're not going to use it, why do we own it? I mean, that's my logic.
Well, didn't we try in the past weren't there a bunch of forums held for the property owners to
Oh,
get
yeah.
questions
That was all part of
answered?
the-
And there's
the
been a
planning.
lot of history of trying to
But the thing is, the
negotiate.
city has a right to use it, then the property owners can't really stop it, can they?
We could make it a path.
And they'll
It's
be
just-
upset until they get used to it, and if it's successful, I mean, well-maintained, and I think the issue in my mind is it gonna be patrolled at all? What's law enforcement
That's,
response?
it's out of the city limits is what the problem is. It's so Canby PD doesn't enforce it. They gotta call Clackamas County. And so it's out of the UGB, it's out of the city
And
limits.
that's kind of my issue, is obviously, as long as you can count on maybe a bike officer, going up, down it or something every so often, or being able to respond to problems. If it's completely ignored, then obviously it could end up being a place where people could, but if the property owner's fears are not carried out, they'll stop complaining after a little
Yeah.
while.
Like, we're picking up garbage down there constantly. There's people trespassing hunting down there. They've had poachers down there. And we had a public meeting and they filled the room, and it was a big controversial deal, and it kind of just stopped. Everything kind of just dried up. I don't know.
Yeah,
Well, this is my view of the politics. The council and the mayor don't have the will to push forward. And there's no point in me spending a lot of my wills until things change.
Yeah,
And then maybe when the time's right, it will. But right now, it's probably the wrong time, but I want to keep it on the drawing board, and I'm not gonna forget about it.
well, I can bring it up at the council meeting. It hasn't been brought up since I've been on the city council, but I only got on in September, so I'm not.
What I want you to do is at least be aware of it right now.
yeah.
And, I think this takes more strategizing than to push it forward. I'm not gonna encourage you to push it forward yet. I like the street maintenance fees funds for the between Territorial and 13th idea, and that's more important to push
Yeah.
than the traversal property. But the traversal properties, the idea shouldn't die, and we should look for the opportunity when it's appropriate.
Yeah, the way I look at it is if you can figure out the patrol element of it, I think it'll be fine. Like, right now, the logging trail as it is, it's a lot of, homeowner adjacent property, so if there's any trouble, they usually get reported. The only thing I've noticed is right over or maybe it's been a while, but I noticed there was a lot of homeless, or was, when I was along, probably 6 or 7 years of cleanup, we go over the overpass, past Fred Meyer, that area. And I don't know if that's still an issue, or,
We've
I've
moved
never
it.
seen it homeless. in that.
They come and then we move them out.
Yeah.
They come, we move them out.
because then that's what I'm talking about. If people come and you move them out, then it's not gonna be a big problem. But if you have the section of out in the middle of nowhere where no one's checking
And that
out,
was one of the concerns of the
major
landowners
concern.
down
but
there.
I think it can be solved by having some sort of patrol once a day.
A lot of vegetation was cleared out, so they can't hide.
Yeah,
Plus, when it's used more, if there were a nice pathway there, if it was used a lot, then the people using it, that alone would deter people. who
deter,
go
but also be
places.
able to report it, because I think the police would have to have some sort of right to go there and
Maybe
tell people move on if they're,
we need, I don't know Sherry's opinion on this, but if the city owns the road, why can't the Canby Police patrol it?
It's so like Zion Cemetery,
Yeah,
that's out of the city limits, our cemetery.
right.
That's right there.
It's owned by the city now, right?
Yeah, we have to call Clackamas County if there's an issue there.
The police boundary is the UG, or is the city
This-
limits,
yeah.
correct?
Yeah, so it's they'll go and assist because a police officer, but no, if there's a vandalism and all that, George Tro, Chief Tro,
Right.
he gets called on these problems and it's a county issue, on the road. Right now, it's a
Yeah.
county issue. What I dreamed of kind of for that path was the UGB went out there and we move our industrial park all out through there and we keep the path going on the backside of our industrial park. It'd be a nice, neat, clean path as we develop, they start making it nice and successful. Just, it would match what we got through town. It would mirror that,
No,
or residential, but our UGB doesn't go that far.
no.
It's out of the city, you know, so,
You know, the UGB, going across the river, not gonna happen.
yeah.
In my lifetime.
And there's bridges that need a bunch of maintenance and work and all that, and we don't have any funds for it.
Yeah.
That, you know, we can barely worry about paving the path. And so now what we're working outside of the city limits, that's the
It's
whole thing.
interesting to know. Now, we can move on to different subject, but I think it's good for me to be aware of that. And
That's
and
why I brought it up.
personally, and I've brought up in council meetings all the time, one thing that pet peeve of mine is city property that's not being used by the city.
Yep.
For city purposes.
Mhm.
And from my opinion, is either find a way to use it or give it back to the private sector, because what's the point?
Long-term, and it may be 50 years from now, it would be a shame if the city lets this property go, because we will grow into it eventually.
Yeah, no,
You know,
I
so-
like the idea. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
I think if that one problem can be solved, meaning the idea of patrolling, I mean, you can get, nowadays you have these little cameras that you can even put on there. And, you know, that are cheap enough that, you know, and somebody go check it out, that I think you could probably, people won't be happy, but after it's been there for a little while and problems are cleared out, they won't they'll stop complaining. That's my opinion. I mean, no one likes change, because that's.
Well, we spent a lot of time talking about the logging road, and that,
I had a few more pedestrian projects if you wanted to hear an update on what I've been doing.
sure.
Okay, yeah, so right now, South Ivy from 99E to 11th by Lee School. Been working with the county, we've acquired all the right of way, and we are putting it out to bid here shortly and hope to start construction like into April. So it'll look like Sequoia Parkway. It'll be center turn lanes, 2 drive aisles with bike lanes all the way out.
Really?
So
Well, this has been a long time coming. I know
Yeah.
I've been involved in the county, and it was,
I've been working on this, I mean, the city's been
years?
working on it for probably 17, 18 years. Rick Robinson gave it to me right before he left, and I've been going hard working with the county on it, so it's a go. So
What is this, the,
South Ivy Street
From
improvements,
the-
pedestrian improvements from 99E all the way
oh yeah,
out to
we
Lee
talked about
School.
that, okay.
Yep,
Yeah.
so that is going. It's gonna be a 2-year project because it's big. So by the time 99's done, that's done. You guys
we
are
only
gonna have a
we
nice
only
one
have
there.
one disruptive project at a time.
Yep, well, and we're trying, and it was supposed to be that way, but 99 was supposed to be done, and they messed up my planning. But anyways, I told you guys about the fitness campaign, and exercise deal, which is exciting. That'll be up and going this summer. We're getting bids to do concrete
Legacy-
now.
That's on Legacy Park?
Mhm.
Which one's that one?
The one off 13th behind Ackerman.
Oh, that one.
13th, yeah,
I
there's
always thought that
that,
was part of
the
Ackerman.
bouncy one, the spongy park. where
Oh,
you
yeah.
can- Yeah, it's on the back side of the gazebo.
Okay.
It'll be butted up to, that's gonna be a really
That's
nice
what the
project.
legacy, they got all the names, like there's community legacy. and all that.
I'm working on Walnut Street connection into the industrial park, and I don't know if you guys ever go into an industrial park, but man,
Yep,
there's
yep.
sidewalks and connectivity over
Yep.
there all the way,
It's a
and
great area to ride, really, because
and
they
I-
widen.
So
Did-
how's that coming?
good. I just got access permit for the signal with ODOT. Part of ODOT says move forward, part of it's like, hold on, let us look at some other stuff. They're still on it, but we're gaining on it. But we have all the property purchased and everything else, so we are under full design, so that's gonna get going here pretty soon.
So when will we actually see, because I drive by it on my
Construction?
way home, yeah, and I keep checking and there's like nothing going on and.
My engineer says this summer, but I
Oh,
don't
wow.
believe it. It could happen. This is kind of top secret, but
Jerry.
I'm,
Being recorded.
I'm working on a potential dog park with this project out there. Counselor Padden asked us to vet areas. The Parks Advisory Committee liked it, and I got kind of a preliminary design put together. It's,
It's part of Walnut?
yeah. It's kind of cool. I'm excited about it. And I don't get excited about anything. It's it's at the green property we purchased over there. And I don't know if you should bring that up in the council meeting, but you could say that, because Parks, delete that, because the Parks Advisory Committee knows about this and they're gonna talk about that.
And I
But-
shouldn't put it in the minutes.
You can, but just say that we're looking at locations and this,
Just be,
But yeah, we did look at a location and we're just gonna see, it won't be my decision. Parks Advisory likes it, but it'll have to go through budget, it'll have to go through city council and all that stuff. But I don't know if you guys are into dog parks, but we're kind of looking at a different
Is it close to 99E or close to the,
Columbia
Just-
Distributing,
okay,
be closer to that end. And it's a small one, it's like a couple acres, you know, but it's nothing
Oh, you
like the other
need.
one. Yeah, no, it's a nice deal. So that'll be coming soon. I'm trying to think what other projects we got going.
restrooms on the logging road on Territorial?
No, those kind of got stopped. That kind of was on the list. We were gonna do that with the original dog park.
But
as
that's
two
not on
phases.
this, that's not on the logging road.
It's not on the CIP. We're doing the bathrooms at Community Park right now. Those are almost done.
Yeah.
We're getting ready to open that, which
Are
are
there
really
gonna
nice.
be, is there gonna be soap in the bathrooms?
Yeah, hopefully.
That's
better
my
be.
big, because there's,
Yeah.
none of the bathrooms have soap. And I
Oh,
talked to the
that-
parks person who
yeah.
said it's a concern of vandalism
Yeah,
and,
they make like, you should see what they're doing to all our bathrooms.
yeah.
Oh my
that's-
gosh, they're just like Locust, we can't even keep it open. They just destroy it so bad. We got cameras out there
That's too
now, but
bad.
it's an ongoing deal. Right now soap I hope we can go back to soap, but right now it's not looking the best. I
Yeah.
mean, with what they're doing with it and everything else, I cannot believe how they treat our stuff.
Is that-
That's the main ones. We got.
Who's doing that? Just kids or is it just?
I don't know. Like at Locust, we got cameras now. It's all ages. Because we built that new shelter there in South Locust Park. We don't want them, but they're catching the bathrooms on fire. They're, you know, everything graffiti. It's just horrible. But with the new camera, the police are narrowing it down who they are. So I would like to be able to get cameras for that type of stuff for all our parks so that they don't destroy it.
Yeah.
It should be I mean, the camera technology is so cheap these days that
I know.
even if somebody were to catch it and break it, you just replace it. I mean, they're only, $30 or something.
Yeah, yep, exactly. So
You
we're
could put it
working on
up
that.
in some of the trees or something where people can see it right easily.
But we're doing a bunch of paving projects this year, and other than that, that's kind of what we're working on right now.
Is there a splash pad on the south side in the vision?
They do. They've been talking about what they want to do is they're looking at the Ivy Ridge property over there, that new subdivision, like behind Hope Village.
Okay,
That we have, we got dedicated really nice flat parkland. If you guys
Oh.
ever go in there, you'll see it. It's two parcels. One of them's butted up against the Emerald Necklace. And the other one's right across the street from it, and it's just nice flat land, and we wanna kind of tie it with the Emerald Necklace and maybe do like some fitness stuff at that, so you could walk the Emerald Necklace, work out, I don't know, so they're kind of looking at that, so that's on the CIP, that park property. But right now, they aren't looking at a splash pad on that side, but it's not a high need right now, but they do want to put one over there in the future.
okay.
So they want to take care of the south side just as much as we take care of the north side.
Right.
And so, and they've been trying to focus on that, which is nice. No, they're doing some, it's a good group, it's a busy group. They do kind of like Bruce says, this group is more into like ball fields and park development and stuff like that. And as of the group we had before, we're putting more probably into what you guys do and stuff. So it just goes in cycles. So I think you write it out, you get all the good throughout the whole thing. So, but yeah, Bruce comes to a lot of the meetings. If you guys ever want to come, he'll keep you in touch. They're fun meetings and you learn a lot at them.
They're interesting.
They're interesting, yeah. They get exciting sometimes. They're getting better. They're a new group, so they're getting trained in the meeting process and stuff. So
You're talking about the parks.
Parks Advisory, yeah, you've been, or do you go to traffic safety sometimes? No, okay.
I'd like to see the fitness equipment be, a little bit of it be put in less, in areas where people are not as well off to be able to afford going to a gym.
Mm-hmm.
Because it would be kind of more,
More
accessible, yeah,
Oh, I see.
equitable, and and I know there could be, there are certain areas that might get, where there's a concern of vandalism or all.
Yeah.
But I feel like something could be, I was in Medellin, Colombia last year, and they had these fitness things outside everywhere.
Oh, wow.
And it's like, if they can keep them up in
Yeah,
there, you know,
Yeah,
and it's,
yeah.
and people use them. I mean,
Yeah.
what's amazing, you get these, you know, strong guys doing their weights and kids
yeah.
and stuff, and it's like, they
That's-
don't have to join a gym, they can go out with their buddies and do that.
Yep, that's great. I'm excited to get this thing in and see how it, I don't, that's the advisory committee voted on that location, and made a recommendation, council approved it, and I didn't really have a say in it. I don't live in town, so I try not to have an opinion other unless there's a big red flag, but that is good input on, like, maybe focus on different density or areas in Canby where people could utilize that more, where they can't get to a gym or something. That makes sense.
Are you still interested in improving the alleys?
Yeah, we got approved. Counselor Stearns, do you remember urban renewal money? Was it $570,000 you guys approved for us to do downtown alleys?
Yeah, for the ARPA funds, right?
Was it ARPA or urban renewal?
I think it was ARPA. I don't think
ARPA.
we didn't vote on
So-
urban renewal.
One of the funds, there's so many, we've had so many this year, but I think Counselor Stearns is right. We got just over $500,000 to improve alleys downtown, which I'm getting estimates right now. We'll take it back to them. I'm gonna put it out to bid and we'll start on them after July 1.
Really?
Yeah, so all the bad alleys down here, I'm trying to,
I walk them a lot.
all the bad alleys in the urban renewal zone or wherever. If it's urban renewal money, we gotta be restricted. If it's ARPA, we can expand out a little bit. I'm hoping we can do them, most of them. I really am, but everything's so expensive, I'll probably only get to do half of them. But we're getting estimates on that right now, which is kind of fun to do. So
I didn't understand the first park you talked about.
Auburn Farms.
Yeah.
So it's got several names. It's called Dodds, it's called Simnet, it's called Auburn Farms. I'm calling it Auburn Farms until they go through the name process because it was put in by Auburn Farms. So if you go down Territorial, take a left on Locust, like you're going out there, that subdivision on the right, we have a 3-acre parcel, Emma?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's right. You can't see where it is right now, but it's right there, right about.
I'm familiar with the property, I just
Oh.
didn't know what it was called.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, so that's where we did were you at the public outreach on that?
No.
By chance? Okay, we did a public outreach and we had I forget how many people show up, give us input. We kind of did a rough preliminary design and we're gonna build it.
Okay, good.
So it's, yeah,
Where is it on this map, Jerry? I'm Auburn Farm HOA.
It's gonna be right there.
right. Yeah.
And
Oh, this is an old aerial, like, oh,
That's
this.
that parcel.
So this is all, this is all houses now. So it's the north corner of the
It's this whole thing.
Dodge subdivision.
could you like zoom it out for a second so I can?
Oh, yeah,
see where
so
you're
this
at.
is Territorial and Holly.
Oh,
This is Territorial and Locust. And
Oh,
so,
okay.
right, the access
Yeah,
will
yeah.
come from Locust, right, Jerry?
Yep.
So you'll take access from here off,
Oh, I see.
somewhere in this kind of side of the
okay,
parcel.
yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, so that's kind of what, we've been working on. So,
Well, thank you, Jerry.
yeah, no,
And
thanks for
I
the
think we should
invite.
have you more than once a year or two.
Whenever you guys want, I have no life, so. This is my life now.
All right, we're still on new business and items that are brought up. So let's go to a bike path between down Holly to the state park. So go ahead and you floated the idea, just,
Well, the reason why I floated the idea is somebody put it on a sticky note on my desk and at my office, one of the workers, and I think I know which one it was, but they just wrote this note right here. It says, meeting tonight, could you ask for adding a walk or bike/bike path on Holly to Molalla State Park, similar to what they did on Maple to the river. So I assume that, thinking about that, it's probably a county road, right? And I don't know if you have to get approval from the county for that thing, or if you just have one of those stripers just take a wrong turn and go all the way.
They're developing out there and we're getting it. It's just slow.
when it is developed, it will happen. Yeah, it's county road and what's right, we've got some development now on the east side where you have a bike lane out there, what, a quarter mile or something?
Mhm.
But nothing on the other side. That's because it's county and
Yep.
city on the other side. And then you get outside the city and it's back country road.
Yep,
And there are some bike lanes further down,
Mhm.
down by the flower farmer, okay?
Well, as a side note, I have, my kids, when they were younger, they would always walk down to the Malala State Park and I know a lot of people jog down there and everything. And it's kind of, you take your life into your own hands doing that when you do that, just like you're on the bikes a lot, but it'd be nicer if there was a.
even the farmers tell us that. They'll call us, like Jim Mickelson, he's like, you guys gotta put a bike lane out here. It's unsafe, someone's gonna, I'm like, yeah, it's county road.
He
It's
actually
out of-
has a bike lane in front of his.
Does he? He wants us to connect it all the way too.
And, I do too, but
Yeah.
So the devious part of me, the guy who's the rebel or just wants to ask the question, if a city striper would actually accidentally do that, would the county go up and raise a big stink?
that would make it a one-lane road.
It would, I mean, it's not quite
Need a
wide
lot
enough.
of
not wide enough.
liability on us, but I mean.
I'm just- Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying.
No, I mean, yeah, I like how you're thinking. But no, I don't.
How
yeah,
many days in jail is it?
Yeah, I don't know, that'd be a good
Well,
question.
Is anybody asking about going from the logging road to Malala State Park?
I don't know, that would be a nice thing to do too, because that would probably solve the same issue if you could go from Malala, logging road to Malala State
The
Park.
Emerald Necklace will connect that someday.
And so that would solve the problem, because the issue is how do kids, well, and I, as a parent, I know there's bike enthusiasts would probably have the same issue, but how do you get the kids safely there and back?
Yeah.
I love the fact that I'm one of those parents that let the kids go or wherever they wanted to. And that, but a lot of people are kind of like, is it safe? Of course, it's not safe, but the kids gotta keep from,
Yeah.
watch out for the cars themselves.
Mhm.
But, but obviously it'd be nicer if there was paths to go to the
Absolutely.
park that weren't, taking your life in your hands.
In the open meetings about the urban growth boundary,
Mhm.
almost many groups, the majority of groups recommended a bike path across from the logging road to, well, the ponds, which are the Manacuco zone, which connects to the state park. But the other thought I had is, no chance getting the county to do your wish of putting this in. And I'm
Because you'd have to
wondering-
widen the road a little bit, right?
You bet. And not only that, but you have to improve the base
Yep,
as well.
they'd say, sure, just take the road over, you can do whatever you want
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah.
That's what they tell us, and, yeah.
Bruce, I did notify the county of the Emerald Necklace plan when they were asking about kind of continuity with their bike ped plan that they were working on. So I don't know where I haven't checked in on
I
that to
haven't
see.
heard anything.
But they were aware of that, we have an adopted plan
Yeah.
that shows this path.
Now, the
the
Emerald
pathway
Necklace,
Through the Emerald Necklace, so.
that's gonna be like I assume a path along the river or something?
Yeah, basically kind of like all around the river and
Completely
around
around town.
with the logging trail.
Does the city own any property or is it something like in the future that they're
You
trying
kind
to?
of-
And
As
pieces they own.
development comes in, planning requires them to dedicate property to us for this.
But it's not our property yet.
So like.
Some of it is, some of it's been dedicated, some of it
So
isn't
like
yet.
Ivy Ridge, like you were talking about, Jerry, that south edge, or that new subdivision on the south edge of town, they had to dedicate the land for the trail as a part of the development, that
So
was
this is
required.
achievable through development, it's just gonna take a long
Yeah.
time.
It's a long time to get everybody who.
Emma, I need to check with Scott Hosher and Bike and Ped in the county about whether you've got that information. Is there any follow-up I need to do on that?
No, I think when they get to that stage of the plan, they should have it, and I can look closer.
Okay.
It's in,
Any more discussion on the bike path down to the state park? Okay, I guess we can move on to old business. We've already introduced you, Dan, so thank you for being here. We're excited about it.
Business now.
Are we really gonna have time for goal setting after?
And actually, Mindy asked me not to do that one,
Okay, good.
so we could bypass that. I can make the Clackamas County Bike Ped report pretty easy. I'll just read what we talked about. I only got one point I think that's interesting. One, the capital improvement between Southeast 172nd and widening the infrastructure improvements on that. There was the Monroe project, which is in Milwaukee area. And we had some discussion of hotspots. And if you come off of Sunnyside and you're gonna get on I-205 and you change your bike, you gotta go to Costco and you go to Sunnybrook, right? And if you make a right turn there, you have to cross the I-205 bike path.
Hmm.
That is a real dangerous intersection. So that's been discussed. Also, if you're coming from Costco and getting on 205 and going back to Canby, people don't slow down and you're going across that. So that was discussed and they're working out ways to improve it, like no right turns or it's got a couple ideas floating out and they're process of drafting a letter to send to ODOT to do something about that. So I thought that might be interesting to you. So I think I have the agenda here if anybody wants to look at it, but I think that's enough for a brief report from the county. Any questions on that?
So you have up there a map of the proposed Emerald
Yeah, sorry,
Necklace?
Bruce, so I was a little
Okay.
slow. So this is just to orient everyone. This is in the Parks Master Plan that was adopted like last year, Jerry, you think?
Yeah, yep.
This was already kind of in existence, but was added to this most recent Parks Master Plan.
good.
And so this kind of green dashed line of sorts is the conceptual location. And so we did get so we got some of this over here with the new subdivision.
But on the north side, where we're talking about, that's still private land.
Yeah, and so, you know, the city limits, city limits ends here, UGB ends here currently, so.
Yeah.
There's this.
Goes
whole
right through my
chunk
sister-in-law's
is
house.
over. So it's definitely an ambitious plan and it will definitely take a lot of time, but I think it will be really great once it's all connected.
So we ought to wait for the city to annex all that area, that little white spot, before we can get the bike path right.
And move the UGB.
Move the UGB, and that's really,
Dawn says I have to buy a suit and go to Salem to do that. I don't know what that means. Doesn't sound fun.
well, you got the governor on your side. She
Do I
wants to
think so?
expand
Well-
all the
Yeah,
UGBs.
Bruce, let's get suits and go do it, huh?
So
Mayor?
Hello.
we're changing
Bike
the
and
whole
ped.
city charter right now.
The whole thing?
Yeah.
I've been losing sleep over it. Good to see you guys.
All right.
See you, Brian.
All right, Emma, you have a staff update for us?
I have just a couple. I know at the last meeting, we were talking about these, police report for the pedestrian incident we were just talking about, and that, you all were curious in having, records going back a little bit more in time, about 5 years or so, to see kind of where else around the city has stuff like this happened. I haven't gotten information yet, but I'm in contact with the records folks over at the police department, so we're working on it. So I don't have information today, but hopefully maybe by next meeting I should have some information for you all on that.
It might be a good thing overall to say, for traffic safety, because it's kind of an intersection between traffic safety and the Parks and Rec is maybe even like a map of Canby with all the accidents plotted. You can probably see clusters where they happen more than anything else by doing it that way for the last maybe 10 years. There's gotta be some way of just putting it on the map, and you could just.
Actually, I saw some data like that for accidents from the county, that occurred in the Canby area.
So
I don't remember.
interesting. It was right outside city limits potentially.
you know,
It is a
inside the city
very,
limits too.
it's a very common data set and map to include in your transportation system plan, which we are updating. I just don't know, I think we're just slightly ahead of them in terms of their data gathering and, you know, providing that information in terms of where they're at in their steps, I think.
Color coded car, bike,
Yeah,
pedestrian.
there might even be one in the,
The-
well. the
All I
TSP
know is
pretty
the
good.
one I said, it included an accident inside of Canby and outside of
Oh,
Canby. It had fatalities and it had serious injuries.
Do you remember what plan it was from?
No, I don't, and
See what I can find.
I know who to go ask to get it, but.
Okay, let me
uh,
see if I can find anything, and if
And
not,
I presented it already to this
oh,
committee.
yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let me
So I
do
don't,
some
I don't,
research
yeah.
and see
Okay.
what I can find, and then if, you know, we wanna revisit that, and if we still want more, we can,
Okay.
they were definitely open to working with us and kind of doing that
Yeah.
fact finding for us. What else did I have? We had talked about last meeting about posting the vacancy that we have in the newspaper.
Mhm.
And so I was intending today to check in with you all of kind of like, how do we wanna phrase it? Do we want a deadline, some of the logistics? But Mindy's not here, and I know at the last summit, she found somebody that was potentially interested in joining the committee.
I'm currently, in fact, yesterday had a lunch meeting with the new director of Bridging Cultures, and one of the things we talked about doing is maybe getting some people from some of the Hispanic community to serve on some of the committee here in the city. And I mentioned that this was open because the website says this is
Mhm.
open, so I mean,
Yeah, we have one opening.
one opening, yeah.
That'd be great.
And so I don't know how or where that will go, but I'm supposed to follow up with him after that, but that was yesterday when I had my lunch meeting with him.
I don't, Mindy's not here, so I'm a little bit
Yes.
hesitant, but maybe, Brett, you could do something on the Logging Road page about mentioning
Yeah,
it.
I did post it on the Logging Road page and the carbs, the Canby Carbs
Oh, yeah, yeah,
page. But I kind of feel like a lot of the people who pay attention, at least the carbs page, it's like they would have,
Already done it.
yeah, been there, done that kind of thing, and they've
Yeah.
seen, I mean, they've been around a while and.
Well, I think reaching out to the Hispanic community, if we find somebody.
Well, because I mean,
That's-
there's a lot
that's
of
good.
people in the Hispanic community that bike and for commuting purposes and walk.
Well, a lot of the pedestrians I see out here on Ivy and crossing the highway are Hispanics. And that's one of the areas I'm real concerned about. And I think that would be a great advocate right there, somebody.
So,
would
yeah,
fill
so
that
he was
spot.
gonna reach out to some people and I told him the openings are the budget committee and the bike and pedestrian. I told him bike and pedestrian is probably more exciting than the budget committee, but the budget committee is one that controls.
That's right.
All of
Budget-
it.
Depends on the person.
Budget holds all the strings for
Yep.
everybody.
That's right.
So even though it's boring, it's actually important.
Well, I do a lot of volunteering for Bridging Cultures, so maybe one of them can.
Well, yeah, the new guy, Miguel Cholula is his name. is
I
the new
haven't
director.
met him
He just got hired just
because
recently.
Sarah left.
Yeah, Sarah left there, and all my volunteering with Bridging Cultures has to do with serving and cleaning and setting up.
Oh, so I've probably seen you
Yeah.
at a lot of
Well,
those.
yeah, so to get that, I know one of the employees there, Raina, pretty well,
Yep.
and the and of course I'm
Yvette.
yeah, I know that, and since I'm bilingual, I have, like, my wife's from Mexico, so.
Oh, I should practice Spanish with you.
Well, está bien, podemos cambiar eso.
Necesito practicar.
No, it's good to practice. Actually, I would suggest just going to Bridging Cultures or whatever events and just.
I
picking-
do, yeah. Well, that's
Picking
one I
things
enjoy.
up.
Yeah, I do. It's fun. Yeah. Anyway, that would be awesome to get it because I've really been pushing for, like, I try to make sure that there is good representation. I think I had mentioned the signs on
Well,
the
that's one of
Logging
the
Road being
issues.
in Spanish too. And
Well, the issue for me is just because people, a lot of times in the Hispanic community, because I work a lot at work and other thing with other people, they have this idea that it's kind of ingrained that they don't count or matter,
Yeah.
And so just having people come in being at the table can kind of, it won't fix the problem, but it'll make it a little better maybe. And I think that's my goal, is to say, hey, you have a say, and you can tell people that have issues, they can bring it up and see how that works out. That's just one of the
and giving them the confidence that they'll be listened to.
yeah, and that's one of the issues. I mean, I know everybody, they're always coming to my office asking for help with this document, that document. We're not lawyers, so we can't help them, but we can direct them, so we translate for lawyers a lot, all kinds of things, and yeah, so it's not, So that's my goal when talking with them, is say we need more. Instead of us going to them, they need to, we'll figure a way for them to come to us so we can meet.
Encourage that.
And yeah, that, so it's, because I mean, I like signs in Spanish, that works. That's a good idea as well. You know, a lot of my clients, they don't even read Spanish. That's an issue. It's like, they just maybe speak Mixteco or another, and barely kind of, people don't realize that a lot of them that come here are actually indigenous. They're not exactly, the, educating, doesn't have to help them write their name on their forms.
Anything else, Brett, an outreach?
I said I posted about the opening. I posted about the latest, what is it, where everybody got together and put things on the
Oh,
map.
the summit,
The
the
summit.
comp plan summit.
Yeah,
Urban Growth Boundary
yeah,
Summit.
right, before that happened. That's pretty much
Okay. I
it.
kind of,
But let me send anything my way if you think it should be, if there's anything new that should be posted.
Mindy's not here and she has her name down, hotspots. Does anybody have something that's done or cannot wait? I'm looking at the time thinking it's,
I feel like we covered that a little bit.
okay, yeah, we did, but, okay. Next meeting is March 12th. Who's up for minutes?
It's supposed to be Mike.
Okay,
Okay.
March 12th. I'll try to make it. I'm gonna skip one, it'd probably be the March 12th one, but I'll have to see. I'm a tax guy and so. didn't
yeah,
March.
yeah, I can see you not making that.
Well, I'll try. I will try to make it.
You
Of
can-
course,
you're
there's the
welcome to
April meeting,
Zoom,
but
too.
might be even more crunch time.
What?
The April meeting,
April, not so much, because usually by that time in April, we tell everybody that we extend them anyway. We don't accept last minute people. If you come in last minute like that, you just say, well, let's extend you, we'll do you in May or June. Just because your procrastination is not my emergency.
Yep.
I mean, it works, you extend to in May and
yeah.
the world doesn't end.
Anything else? Well, if we want to end the
Motion to
meeting,
adjourn. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We're
We're done.
anyway.
Yeah.
There you go.
So.